Hello everyone and welcome to Online Multiplayer Series Part 3. In the previous parts I explained the basics of how online multiplayer works. You were talking about replication and relevancy. In this episode I promised I would show you how to do an online door. So let's go through that process of how to make an online door. So what is an online door? Well, this is a door that is then replicated, its actions and movement across to all the clients in your multiplayer game. So obviously quite an important thing to know how to do. And what we're going to do today is I'm going to go through the basics of how to do this. It does help if you've followed my door tutorials before, because there's a lot of repeated content there that would help shore up your understanding of doors and how they work in an offline game. So I've got my door here, and my door consists of 3 components. We've got the door frame, the door itself, and then a box collider. The box collider is there so we can detect when the player's left the area to then automatically shut the door. We also have an interface set up. So if you don't know what interfaces are, I've used them plenty of times in my other videos, and it's just a sort of function that you can place onto multiple actors, and you can sort of try and attempt to call that function, and it's not going to give you massive errors if you don't have it on there. But it's a way to interface with different actors. So here I've got an interacted interface, and here you can see my inputs here. I'm taking in an interactor, and it's a pawn. Okay, so if you see my other videos where I've set this up, it's not too dissimilar from that. So alongside that, we need to go into our third person character and work out how we're going to determine whether the player's interacted with the door itself. So for this, we're going to do the E key. So let's find the E key. And there it is. And what we're going to do here is we're going to call a event. Now the event we're going to call is a line trace event, but we want this line trace to occur on the server. Okay. Remember what I've been saying over the past 2 episodes? The server is king. The clients are just watching what the server's doing. The server is determining what the hell's going on. So we need to make a custom event in here to handle the line trace. So we're going to right click and do custom event. And I'm going to do a SR for server request. And we're going to do underscore line trace. And I'm going to click on that. And on the right hand side details panel, you'll see replicates. I'm going to change that to run on server. Okay, and that tells it to, well, run it on the server. From there, we're going to then call that from the E key press, so SR line trace, and that will now call this. Now, this is going to run on the server, so if a client pushes their E key, the server is going to do a line trace. So we need to do the actual line trace function itself. So I'm going to create a new function for line trace. And in here, we're going to get actor location and put that into a line trace by channel. And that will go into the start. And the endpoint is going to be the where the player is facing. We're doing a simple third person character game here, so we can go from the actor location and rotation. So get actor forward vector, and we're going to multiply that by how far away we want it to detect anything. So I multiply it by a float. I'm going to put in 1000 here, and then I'm going to add that onto my actor location to get the endpoint. That's basically going to project it outwards from the actor location by 1000. And for this, I'm just going to do a draw debug type for 1 frame. So we know, actually let's do it, change it for duration, sorry, to make it so we can actually test this out and see it working. And because it's running on the server, it's only going to draw a debug on the server. Okay, the client's not going to see debug, not going to see nothing like that because it is running on the server. The out hit here is what we need to store. So what I'm going to do is my return value, I'm going to put that into a branch. And we're going to do a return node here. And the return node, we're going to drag out from out hit. So right click on out hit and split to get the hit actor and drag that over to return node to get that as an output. Plug that into true and then copy and paste the return node into false with no out hit actor attached to it. Hit compile and then go to the event graph. Now, for this line trace, I'm actually going to make this a pure function. So a pure function is not this. Okay, so a pure function, if you are manipulating data in any kind of way, in pure, which is what this is a good way to use that. However, within a simple line trace, so you can actually make it really simple. Click on your line trace, and in the right hand corner you see pure. Tick that. Now drag it out, and that's what a pure one looks like. Okay, if you wonder what the green ones mean, that's what they are. It's a getter basically. It's going to get information, or take information in and manipulate it in some sort of way to get an output. It's not changing anything. Okay, so the line trace here is getting out hit actor. So from there, I'm going to call that interacted message, and that is that part of that interface. And the interactor here, we're going to do get player character. To get the interactor. And that's all we have to do on the player character. So if I were to push play on this, okay, so we can see our clients and our servers in the. So we've got a client on the left and on the left side, and then a server on the right. If I hit the E key, the server does the line trace, but the other two can't see that line trace. Okay, to them, they don't see it because the line trace is happening on the server only. All the clients will see is the effect of that line trace. Okay, so let's work on that effect. So I'm going to go to my door. And in the event graph for here, we need to determine when we've been interacted with. So we're going to do interacted, and you want to add event interacted. We also need one for end overlap for the box here. So select the box in your component list, right click, add event, on component end overlap. We also need two custom events, one called open door, and then one called close door. And open door and closed door are going to be multicast replicated events because we want everyone else to see that effect taking place. So select each one of these and change it to multicast, like so. So now we actually go through the process of opening the door. So I'm going to do a timeline for this. Add timeline, and we'll call this one door opening. And closed door is going to go into reverse. Double click on your timeline, and we're going to add a float to this, and we'll call this one door position. And a timeline is a way of changing a value over time. So we've got time on the horizontal axis and the value on the vertical axis, and you add points by shift clicking. So I'm going to shift click once and shift click twice. Select the first point and change the time here. You can see the top here, we've got time and value. Change time to 0, value to 0. And then for the second point, we need to change the time to 1 and the value to how far away we need to move the door to get it out of the way. And the easiest way of doing that is go to your viewport, select your door, and move it. And take a note of the value in your details panel. So that says minus 230. So I need to move that minus 230. Like so. Okay, and there's my timeline. That's going to last 1 second, so change the length to 1 second and hit compile. We can now go back to our event graph, and we can then drag the door component out, set relative location, and relative location is going to be updated. So go to update, and we're going to change the new location, right click, split in the X. So door position into the X like that. Set relative location is different from the others because we're moving it in relation to its parent root. So at the moment, its default is 0, 0, 0. But if I move this, this is now a relative location of minus 130 away from the root. Okay, so if we want to move it away from the rest of it, then it needs to be relative. That's what that is. And that will do there. So now we've got interacted and end overlap. On interacted, we're going to check if the interactor is the player character. So cast to third person character. And then from there, if it's true, we're going to come out and we'll take it to open door. And on end overlap, we're going to do other actor, cast to, that's it, third person character. And if it is true, we come out and take it to closed door. Hit compile, and we're going to save it. With that saved, we're going to go back to the game, and we're going to drop our door in there. So I'm going to just put the door here, like so, and then test that out. So I'm going to test that out. I'm just going to put in my clients there on the left, server on the right. Let's just reposition these so we can see the door clearly. Like so. So the server here is what's moving now. If I interact with the door, they are replicated across. And if I go to the clients, that should also replicate across to the server and the clients. Take note that the line trace is happening on the server. The server is interacting with the door and then telling everyone, hey, the door is opening, so open your door. Now, making sure what we've learned from the previous 2 episodes, make sure your online door is set to replicate in the class defaults, and that your relevancy details are correct, okay? And that is it. That is how you make an online functioning door. Thank you very much for joining me for this part. In the next part, we're going to go through what rep notifiers are. How do we use them? What do they mean? So we can learn about those in the next part, in part 4. If you want to watch that part right now, head over to patreon.com/Ryan Daly, where you can watch that video plus many, many others before any others on YouTube. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting me and the channel. This wouldn't be possible without you guys, so thank you again so much. I mean it so much. If you're watching this and you've yet to subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the little notification bell. That way you don't miss any of the content when it's uploaded. Make sure you join us for each live stream we do each week. And if you have any comments or suggestions for future content, leave a comment below. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you've learned something and found it useful. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye everyone.